Hey, folks, good morning and welcome to another episode of Steelers Morning Rush. I'm Alan Saunders. It is Friday, September 20th. We made it to the weekend, and we are getting set for the Pittsburgh Steelers home opener against the Los Angeles Chargers this Sunday, week 3, 2-0 against 2-0. And I think when we looked at the Steelers schedule when it came out this summer, I don't think anybody had this circled as a big game, but let me tell you, this is absolutely a big game between the Steelers and the Chargers right now. The winner moves to 3-0, and I have to say, would really cement themselves in good shape in the NFL playoff picture. You get to that kind of start, especially with some other teams really struggling, teams that we expected to be in the playoff picture. The Indianapolis Colts, the Baltimore Ravens, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Jacksonville Jaguars are all 0-2. The ability to move potentially 3 games ahead of one of those teams, that is huge. And so, look, I don't think anybody thinks that either of these teams are Super Bowl contenders, but I think they were teams that were on the playoff bubble. And if one of them starts 3-0, they certainly could drastically improve their chances of getting to the postseason. So as we do on Fridays, we're going to talk about one matchup in this game. And today the matchup is going to be between Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Justin Fields and the dynamic LA Chargers edge rusher duo of Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. Now, Alan, you're going to say one's a quarterback and one's an outside linebacker. They don't play against each other. Don't you mean the matchup between Bosa and Mack and Dan Moore and rookie tackle Troy Fautanu, who will be making his second career start? No, I do not. Here's the deal. These guys are going to get some. I don't care how well Dan Moore and Troy Fautanu play. You cannot go into a game against Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack and expect to win all of those matchups with your offensive tackles, and I don't really care who your offensive tackles are. The Steelers' first 2 opponents' edge rushers have a combined 107 career sacks or 102 career sacks or something like that. Mack has almost that many all by himself. Mack and Bosa together have about 178. These 2 guys are going to get to the quarterback. They're going to cause pressure. And the absolute incumbent thing for Justin Fields to do is to not let that pressure turn into negativity for the Steelers. Justin Fields is an incredible athlete. He really should honestly never be sacked. He is probably the fastest player on the field most of the time when he's out there. But he's had trouble throughout his career in feeling the rush and understanding when he can stay in the pocket, when he needs to get away, where the places are he can get away, while also keeping his eyes downfield and navigating the defense. That has been a struggle for him throughout his career. He's been one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the NFL over the last 3 seasons, despite the fact that he is incredibly fast. He also has an elevated level of turnovers, both in fumbles from some of those sacks and interceptions where he's forcing the ball. He's done a really nice job through the first 2 weeks of not doing that. He's been sacked twice. He's not turned the ball over. The Steelers will absolutely take those kind of numbers from Justin Fields in terms of decision-making with the football. But it's going to be much more difficult this week because Bosa and Mack are going to cause pressure. How will Justin Fields deal with that pressure? I think will go a long way to deciding what the Steelers are going to do with the quarterback position. The Steelers could win this game fairly easily. I'm not expecting that, but it's certainly possible. And it could be another type of game where the Steelers just feel like they can take the air out of the ball and sit on it and get themselves to a victory and not have to test Justin Fields with their play calling. But whether they want to do that or not, these Chargers are going to test Justin Fields. And I'm very interested to see how he does with this test. If he's able to maintain his composure, to navigate dirty pockets, find green grass, get rid of the ball, and not turn it over. And the other part of this is the first team the Steelers have played where I think there's a real chance the Steelers will need to throw the ball in order to win the game. As I talked about earlier this week, I think the Chargers are going to be able to run the ball on the Steelers. I think they're going to be able to score points. I don't know if they're consistently going to be able to get in the end zone, but they're at least going to be able to stack field goals. And the Steelers offense is going to have to keep up. There may be times where they have to throw. And Justin Fields has not gotten in that situation. And he certainly has not gotten into a situation where he has to throw and the other team has this kind of edge rushing talent available to it. Look, Dan Moore has played really well through 2 weeks, but we know he is not a premier pass protecting left tackle. He's a better run blocker than he is a pass protector. Somebody's going to become flying around that edge. And it's up to Justin Fields to make sure he feels it. He protects the football. He gets out of there. I think we're going to see the Steelers do a lot of things to try to slow those edge rushers down this week. I think you'll see a lot more of the screen game than we have the first 2 weeks. That's something we saw all training camp was put in, and it hasn't really showed up yet. I do think you're going to see that come up this week. I think you'll see more designed runs for Fields just to try to slow those edge rushers down a little bit, make them think instead of letting them play fast and react. But this is, to me, the matchup that is going to define this game, even though both teams are better at running the ball than they are throwing. I think this is a very even matchup. I think both teams really good running the ball. Both teams really good stopping the run. I think Herbert's a little bit of a better quarterback. I think the Steelers' defense overall is a little bit better than the Chargers. I don't even understand why the Steelers are favored in this game. I think this should be a very, very close contest. To me, the biggest unknown I see in this matchup is how Justin Fields will handle the pressure from these Chargers edge rushers. If he can pass that test, not only could he beat the Chargers and get the Steelers to 3-0, that is the kind of thing that we have not seen from him yet because of the circumstance that he could do this week that would allow him, in my eyes, to start to stake a claim to that starting quarterback role even when Russell Wilson gets back. And we saw Russell Wilson the last couple of days of practice. The videos are up there on the YouTube channel if you want to scroll up. It doesn't look like this man's super close. I mean, I think we're talking about the possibility of Fields getting one more no matter what. But if he starts to do some things that we haven't seen yet, that the game situation hasn't called for yet, or the opponent hasn't called for yet, I think that really would be a feather in the cap of Justin Fields. I can't wait to see what happens. I'm sure you all can either. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications here on the YouTube channel. I'll be at practice. There'll be sights and sounds coming up here, and then I'll be back with more with Zachary Smith and Derek Bell on another episode of Steelers Afternoon Drive, where we'll give our predictions for the game and our final matchup podcast. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.